Getting published in high quality impact factor research journals is often important for researchers, especially for junior researchers. So what is an impact factor, and what is the general process of publishing in impact factor journals? These are questions that we will briefly respond to in this presentation. To begin with, I must say that I have several publications in impact factor journals, and so I generally know the process of publishing in impact factor journals. Now, first of all, what is an impact factor? So generally, an impact factor basically is a metric or a calculation, you can say, that reflects the yearly average number of citations to recent articles published in a journal. Generally, impact factor indicates the importance or rank of a journal within its field. That is how much the journal is actually attracting readership and how much belief generally other researchers have in the publications in that particular journal or publication. Generally, the impact factor is calculated by dividing the number of citations that in that year to articles that are published in the journal during the two preceding years by the total number of articles published in those 2 years. So how many total numbers of articles are published and how many publications get citations. So that is something, that calculation actually leads to an analysis of the impact factor of that particular journal. Now, generally, academic journals that have a calculated impact factor assigned by the Clariva's Journal Citation Reports, that is the JCR, which is basically a part of the Web of Science database, are journals that are considered as impact factor journal. Now, generally, the impact factor journals are prestigious and influential in terms of attracting a good deal of readership and in terms of the belief that comes through the authenticity of the papers that are published in these journals. Secondly, generally these journals have wide citation, and thirdly, these journals are journals that have rigorous editorial and peer review processes and high standards. Generally, there are several categories of the impact factor journal. There are high impact factor journals, generally the impact factor journals above the impact factor of 10. The moderate impact factor journals that generally have impact factor between 2 and 10. And then low impact factor journals that have impact factor less than 2. Generally, hard sciences, journals in the hard sciences have more impact factor in comparison to social sciences. So the level 10 might not generally apply to social sciences and to the journals related to humanities. So generally, lesser than 10 impact factor is or might also be a high impact factor in the social science research journals. Even lesser than 5 impact factor generally is considered a high impact factor in certain areas, certain fields, especially in social sciences and humanities. Now, what is the general process? How we are now coming to the actual question. And so the question is how to publish in impact factor journal. So there are certain things that we can do. Generally, all researchers, junior researchers or PhD students, they have the ability to and the opportunity to publish in impact factor journals. So there are certain things that we need to do. One of those is actually to choose an original and worthwhile topic. It is important that you choose a topic that is original in your field, that is worthwhile, and that actually adds something to the area in which you are conducting your research. Secondly, you need to find and analyze possible research gaps. So again, the originality will be reflected in the research gap that you have identified, especially in your literature review and your theoretical frameworks. Next, we need to conduct rigorous and authentic research, having rigorous research designs and methodologies. And then the next stage is to write the paper based on your research. And lastly, to peer review and improve, and before you send the paper to a particular journal. Now, there are certain characteristics of high quality papers or papers that have the more chances of getting published in impact factor journals. The first one is the subject matter. Whatever subject matter or area that you are working on should be important. It should be based on significant addition to the area or to the subject that you are working on. So again, this should be based on a solid research gap analysis. There should be originality and innovation, both in terms of the subject matter and in terms of the methodology, in terms of the context in which you have actually, or you are publishing this paper, or in which you have written this paper. Next, research methodology should be robust, it should be original, it should be contextual, and it should be based on authentic research choices. Then the presentation, language, format, and structure of papers that are likely to get published in impact factor or high quality journals. These papers should have high quality presentation, language, format, and structure. And for this, we need to have close look at the particular the instructions that are available for authors on the research journal sites. The next thing that we need to do is, once we have chosen a good topic, conducted good quality research, and then we have written it in according to the format of certain research journals, and the process involves good quality writing and presentation. After that, we need to choose the right journal or publication. In some cases, one can first choose a journal or publication and think about the areas that those journals or publications are interested in, and then write a paper in line with that. But the other way is to write the paper in line with your interest or areas in which you are an expert or where there are gaps, and then find and choose a research journal publication for that. So first of all, you need to look at the scope of the research journal. Generally, these instructions and this information is available on the research journal sites. So we need to check the research sites, their areas of interest, their scope, and the fields that they cover. Secondly, we need to assess the impact factor of that journal, keeping in view our requirement. For example, if you are interested in very high impact factor, we need to check whether the journals have that kind of impact factor. Thirdly, in order to get published after choosing the right research journal or publication, we need to check the author guidelines closely and to follow those. So each journal has specific submission requirements that we need to follow. And so these submission requirements include, for example, the structure of the paper that they require, the format, the word count, the citation style. There are several citation styles. Different journals need different word count. Different journals have different format for the various sections of the paper. So we need to read these carefully and then shape and align our paper accordingly. And lastly, we need to then submit the paper or the manuscript, whatever you call it. Here, once our paper is completely ready, we should not just submit it over there. We need to have another look to make sure everything is fine. Once that is done, we can submit it to the journal's online submission system. Generally, most high quality, good quality impact factor journals have an automatic online submission system. So there was a time when journals would accept papers through email or maybe through the post. But now, in the current era, generally there are submission sophisticated and easy to use, user friendly submission systems where you can follow the instructions and submit your paper. We need to ensure, again, to ensure all requirements given in the submission process, such as in some cases there might be a cover letter for the editors, there could be declaration of interest letters, and so on. Then we also need to respond to, so after this, the next process will be the peer review. If your paper passes the editorial review, the next they will send it to proper reviewers, to their reviewers who are experts in their field. Generally, in most impact factor journals, we get a review and we get feedback from reviewers. Sometimes these reviewers are more than one. So again, we need to be objective when we are responding to reviews. We need to be rational and to listen to the advice of the reviewers. In some cases, we might disagree with certain of the reviewers' feedback. Again, we need to be polite in responding to those. We need to be critical of the reviews as well, because in some cases, you might not accept everything that the reviewers are saying, but if you are objective and rational and polite in your responses, that might be a very useful strategy. And lastly, be patient and persistent. Acceptance and rejection are part of the processes of publishing high quality papers. So in many cases, you are lucky if you get your paper accepted soon, but in many cases, it takes a lot of time, significant time, in reviewing, submitting, re-reviewing, and resubmitting of your paper. In some cases, your paper might get rejected in the beginning or maybe later on. In both cases, remember that it's a learning process for you, and even if your paper is rejected, generally good quality research journals and editors and reviewers will provide you with excellent insights into improving your paper and suggestions for maybe other research journals where you can actually send your paper and get published. So this is there is no you can say there is no royal road. There are no easy ways to success in publishing in high quality impact factor journals. It's a hard process. It's sometimes a time-taking process. You need to be persistent. You need to be patient, and you need to be authentic. You should have an interest in publishing, not for the sake of publishing, but for the sake of adding to knowledge and for the sake of adding to your own understanding of particular areas. So that is something, this mindset will help you in publishing in high quality impact factor journals.